They're all the geese. So it looks like they've dug out another third of this pond. And I hear a truck backing up. And there was a deer. Whoa. I think the quarry's open today, so I need to leave. But I got the answer I needed. Hello everyone, this is Muddy Matt here. Wanted to make a follow-up to the video you just watched. This was taken yesterday at the Clay location. Quarry, as I've sometimes been calling it. So at the very end, I seemed to start freaking out because I think the quarry is occupied. And the first thing I said was, I think I hear a truck backing up. That one I really can't explain, but the second one was just the general statement, I think the quarry is still open. I wanted to sort of add an addendum to that to hopefully quell any fears about what might be going on there. So when we got there, it was around 4 p.m. and there was a single truck in the parking lot. Now when I've been there previously, and the quarry's been closed, there has been a single truck in the parking lot. It sort of looked like the same truck, and my assumption was that this truck is always there. It's just like a one that they keep on site so like you get in with your dirty boots and you drive around so you don't have to bring in dirt to your work, the car you drive to work, that sort of thing. So it might have been the same one. It's hard to say. But my other reasoning for why I thought the quarry was open was because one of the gates was left open. Now, looking back on it, I only saw one vehicle there. If we're generous and say 5 people drove to work in one truck, so they're really hardcore on carpooling, can the entire quarry operate with just 5 people when it's, a mile or so to each end of the property in any direction? Doesn't seem like it. It seems like you'd need 20 to 30 people there making sure things go smoothly, unless it's just a super bare bones weekend crew. And I didn't see anyone while I was there. I spent a while looking with binoculars, and other than the one time of hearing what sounded like a truck backing up, I never saw anything, never heard anything. Oh, the other thing I heard was sort of like a muffled explosion. But that could have... that one's harder to explain away. I guess it doesn't matter if someone was there when I was there because they didn't see me. It's more a question of, are they ever open on weekends? So again, this was visiting. I'm going to silence Discord so that my friend stays quiet. No offense to you, friendo. I'll give you attention shortly, I promise. So we were there 4 p.m. on a Saturday. The last time I was there was closer to 5:30 to 6 p.m. on a Saturday. So maybe they're open on Saturdays and they go home around 5 p.m. Who knows? Or maybe there was no one there at all and I was just sort of hallucinating, seeing things that were there but making the wrong assumptions about them. It's not a hallucination. It's a wrong conclusion. The other news was about how much excavating they did, which obviously you saw in the video. So there are 3 pits there. The first one is the one that's completely surrounded by brush, and I don't think they're going to be able to dig that one up because it's just too hard to get to. So if push comes to shove, maybe we could sink there, but it just seems like a huge hassle. You'd have to forge your way through the brush, which is quite thick, and I don't even know how good it is, how much of it's water and how much of it is clay. It just seems like a hassle. So there are the other 2 pits. The first one I walk up to is the one that's 2/3 of the way excavated. That's just an estimate. Now 2 weeks ago, it was about 1/3 excavated, And then 2 weeks before that, so 4 weeks from today, there was no excavation whatsoever. So if we assume that they're digging these pits out at about 1/3 of a pit per 2 weeks, that means in another 2 weeks, you would expect them to be finished with this first pit. And then in another 2 weeks, they've done 1/3 of the second pit. And another 2 weeks, they've done 2/3. And in another 2 weeks, they've done the last third. So in 8 weeks, we would expect all 2 pits to be 100% excavated. Now, that's assuming they excavate the second pit. I don't know if they're going to do that. The only way to know is to go back and see if they're digging it up. My guess is yes, they will be. But the reasoning could really go either way. Why dig up both of them when you can just dig up one? Or you've already spent the time to dig up one and you've got all the equipment out here, you might as well dig up the other one. You can make an argument for digging up the second one and not digging up the second one. So really the only way to know will be to go back in a month or so and see how much progress they've made. Obviously the hope is that they don't dig it up because we won't have a nice clay pit like we did earlier. Anyway, that's all about the Pike Creek Junior location. I also wanted to give a very short update on the other location. I'll throw a picture up on screen so that you know which location I'm talking about. But for some of the people, I've been referring to it as... So I was there. My friend was here this weekend. We were there yesterday around 6 p.m. or so, and I guess the time doesn't matter because it's only the date. Yesterday was July 11th. We were there yesterday. So as you may remember, there are 2 types of mud here. There's the waist-deep mud that has some debris in it, and then there's the thigh to knee-deep mud, which is much creamier. So the waist-deep mud was dried up to the point where you could no longer sink in it without, a substantial amount of work. You could have just, beat your fists on it, used a giant egg beater for an hour, and maybe you'd get somewhere. But in its current state, it was unsinkable. And then the thigh to knee-deep mud was losing its creaminess. For a good section of that mud, you could walk on top of it without sinking in it, and that was not how it behaved at all. You couldn't walk on any part of it before without sinking. So now we know that both of those locations are dependent on how much rain we've had. Just being close enough to the lake isn't enough to protect them. So in the next month or so, I'll be paying attention to how much rain we get for anyone who's coming to visit. If we don't have a lot of rain, the Hazeldale Parkway location just isn't going to work because it's not in good condition right now and it's only going to get worse. The other thing worth noting is that we're starting to see more plant growth in the mud. I was thinking about it earlier, finding it odd that it remained plant-free well into June, and then I reasoned maybe we had a very late frost that killed off the tiny weeds and grass that had started growing there. Regardless, this may be a location that just doesn't work well in the later half of the sinking season when we don't get as much rain here in Indiana, and there's been more time for plants and grass and weeds to grow up in that area. Hopefully, winter comes and it kills all that plant growth off so that 2027, the first half of the sinking season, that stuff is good to go. And of course we get rain spring of and early summer of 2027 to keep that stuff softened up. So that's all I've got for now. I don't really have too many pictures to share and no video I feel comfortable sharing. Anyway, that's all I've got for now, so I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. And as always, much love from Muddy Matt.